Gather round, freaks. See? Whoa, why are you all in black and white? See? I've got my blackbird, my fedora, and 2 guns tucked into the pockets of my trench coat. See? And you're coming with me. So gather around the internet radio and gather around the internet campfire, because it's time once again for a film noir. Hey, did you see this one? Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hey, Did You See This One? The weekly roundtable review, discussion, reaction, roundtable podcast review, where we just have to ask the question, hey, did you see this one? On this show, we take a movie, we pull it completely apart, we put it back together, we leave no stone unturned, and of course, I'm your first co-host, the co-host with the co-most. Nope, that doesn't work. Jason, the Maltese, Falcon. No, fucking hell. The Maltese, Jason R. Phillips. I'm joined, as always, by Stephen Booba Blackfly Waters himself.
Hi. Hello.
How do you do, sir? Are you having a great day or a great day?
Oh, it's great. It's a great day.
You look like you've never slept before.
I'm so tired, but we'll do this. We'll get through this. I'm trying to be energized for this super energizing movie.
That's the thing about it. It's like, look,
listen, I've seen this movie 100 times. I like this movie a lot, so I'm just being.
Okay, just Jason.
I didn't dislike the movie. It's just very dry, and you have to really focus in on their performances.
There is no villain. Viggo Mortensen is not the villain.
When does Spider-Man show up in this movie? That's what I kept asking. Please welcome back to the show for I think the 13th time, lucky number 13, Noel Kennedy themselves. Welcome back to the show. Hello.
Hi.
That's right. I'm just going to come up with a new last name for you every week going forward.
So next time I'm on, you have to be like, I'm here as always with Steven, and I'm here as often.
Pretty much. Out of 205 episodes, you've been here 13 times or something. That's more than anybody else, except for maybe Tim. Shout out to Tim Covey, who is nipping at your heels. Like Jack Frost nipping at your nose. It is November. We're in Warvember. We're talking about movies that.
Sorry, who came up with that?
The internet, I think. I think you
no,
said it.
I said it.
Well, you said it, and then I looked it up to make that picture. I did composite 2 photos together to make that little picture at the start, but it was all over. There's a subreddit. There's a bunch of stuff. So it was collective unconscious. It's clever. We love you, November. That's new. That's brand spanking new. Did you guys like my impression in the beginning? Because I hated it. I tried it earlier, and I was like, ugh, this is gonna grate on everybody's ears. See?
Was that an impression of someone specific?
That was my Mid-Atlantic accent. Sorry.
Oh, okay. That was just a voice. Got it.
It was just a voice. Not an impression. My Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart's got such a unique
he talks like this. See, and this is how he speaks.
Yeah. I knew you had it. I knew you had it in the
Can you do the Peter Lorre though?
Yes, he's very strange.
Yeah.
I have a gun pointed at your penis. Pretty sure he says that a couple times, right?
Yeah. I've got it pointed directly down.
It's pointed right at your crotch, detective.
Sweetheart Pro Wrestling also says that they probably watched it in film school. I come to learn that this is one of those movies. Stephen was telling me
in school.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about Citizen Kane? I believe you asked me.
I mean, that's when we were talking about covering this movie, I almost was going to say we probably shouldn't, because it's one of those ones that like is pretty over discussed, and it's part of like the analysis of filmmaking in general. So I'm like, are we going to have a fun conversation, or is it going to be like a dry, super sort of like analytical conversation about the structure of filmmaking and camera angles and all that kind of stuff? But
Well, it's a
I'm
good
sure
thing you
we'll-
got me on the show, because I would never talk about any of that.
This is actually a backdoor pilot for a new Hey, Did You See This One production that's actually a sleep podcast. So if you're listening to the audio version of this, listen to the dulcet
I'm gonna
tones.
talk like this the entire time to put you to sleep. See,
No, we're jacked and we're ready to talk about it. Speaking of talking, why don't we go into our brief histories?
I actually might make a coffee if that's okay, but we'll do this first.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, brief history. I forgot I have to hit a button.
A brief history.
That's right. This is the segment where we talk about our brief histories with this. I think the two of you are going to have longer ones. Stephen, why don't you go make a coffee and we'll have Noel go first for this. Talk real slow and real long.
My brief
Perfect. Great.
history
I'm going to say a word after
With-
every word too.
movie is that okay. So I have heard of this movie. I like this era, but I'm not really like, I don't seek out noir necessarily. And I tend to, when it comes to older movies, I tend to be more uh same era, like 1938 to 19 about 49, 50. But usually I'm in the musicals era, like the musical stuff, like Broadway Melody of, like all the Judy Garland musicals and the like. So noir is a bit of a, what's the word? Black hole? I don't know. Like I've seen
No
Double
pun intended.
Indemnity. I've seen a couple of those, but I hadn't seen the Maltese Falcon. I know it's based on a book. Like I knew about it. It's one, like Steven said, it's one of them film school movies, but I never bothered. But when I saw the list that you gave me, I was like, oh, that one, because I wanted to see it. So I saw it for the first time this week, but I guess I won't spoil how I felt about it.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't hear your whole thing, but yeah, I did have to watch it I think it was very early in the unit where we were going through specific movies like
Was it in Flim School?
Flim School, and we were doing like, it was like the Bicycle Thief, Battleship to Potemkin, Citizen Kane, like a bunch of like the sort of like major tentpole movies when it comes to like changing the way people know cinema. And one of the big things for this movie was it was fairly early on, and when dynamic camera angles were becoming more of a thing, where it was less like they're filming a play on a stage and more like how crazy can we get with the camera. And there's a lot of interesting cinematography in this movie that is just trying weird stuff out, like those shots where it's like directly at the back of Humphrey Bogart while there's two characters on either side of him and the camera is sort of locked off, and you're never really seeing his face. It's more like you're seeing the reactions that they're having to his answering their questions and things like that. But a bunch of that stuff throughout this movie. But yeah, I think that was the main sort of bulk of the reason this movie was being shown to us during that particular unit, was like, look at all the crazy things that this movie was doing in terms of camera placement that no movie had done before it. It also is, it's sort of like solidified itself as the first film noir. Like it's the one that kind of like solidified the genre, kind of showed everybody what it would be coming from, you know, novelization to the screen. And this one sort of like set the template. But yeah, the first time I saw it, I thought it was really great. And I was pretty pretentious at this point in terms of film when I was first learning about everything and being like, oh, so this is one of the greatest movies ever made. Okay, so therefore I have to like it. And it wasn't necessarily my actual feelings on the movie so much as it was like an expectation of like, you're supposed to like this, so you have to really analyze it heavily. And I ended up doing like my final paper on like film noir as a genre because of this movie. But you know, I also did like the evolution of what noir was in like gangster cinema in general, and like what it had become up until the point that I was at school, which was, so I was like a lot of Tarantino and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, the first time I saw it was school. Then I've watched it a whole bunch of times between then and now, but it's been quite a while since I've watched it. And yeah, I watched it yesterday, and I annoyed the hell out of Danny the whole time because I just kept talking like this the whole time. See, we're gonna go make some pierogies. See,
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was aware of this movie. I didn't really know what it was. I didn't realize it was this old, certainly. Don't promote your pharmaceuticals on our show, please, Noel. I know you have your own brand of caffeine pill. But we saw what happened with Jesse Spano. I interestingly, when it comes to like old movies from this era, I've seen a few. The oldest movie we've done on the show is The General, which is actually predates this. We also did Rebel with a Cause, which I think is right after this. And we had good discussions. That's like the old hey, did you see this one? But I think this is the first time you and Steve and I, you were there for The General, but that's a lost episode. Let's be real. That
Was anybody really there for The General?
Was anybody really there? You and I had a conversation while a raging lunatic also was there. But this is the first time that I've seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I've seen like the original Night of the Living Dead, which are sort of around, not quite back this far, but sort of around this sort of black and white era. This movie I was always curious about because I was really like, I really wanted to know what a movie like this would look like, and now I know. And I started watching it immediately. Like, you know, I watch these movies in the middle of the day, in the week, and I'm already kind of tired. And I watched it in 2 sittings. The first sitting, my eyes were getting real droopy, and I was like, I'm just gonna speed this up a bit. I'm just gonna turn up the speed just ever so slightly. And the problem is they're the mid-Atlantic accent and the way they're talking, and also a lot of this slang and a lot of the like colloquialisms are different. So I already don't know what they're saying. So if you speed it up, it's just like garbled nonsense. So I did have to watch this movie at the regular speed. And what I ended up doing, I know. I thought of
for
you. Right.
I did have to watch this movie as intended.
But the thing is like what I found myself doing is really honing in on the performances. And then on top of that, realizing that this was one of the first of these kind of films to ever do something like this. And sort of when you look at it through that lens, it becomes this like different beast, you know. Movies could be, well, that's why it was called a talkie, because they talk a lot. And well, it was called a talk. They called them talkies because they introduced talking. It wasn't a silent film anymore. But anyway, I digress. I really enjoyed learning that like they could get away with it being kind of a dry movie because nobody had seen anything like this. So and now I'm realizing like if you go back and watch like the first Iron Man, it's at a certain point like
It's
eventually
the most boring movie
it's going to be like people are going to find it to be super boring. Personally, like I
like
like it because it's superheroes, but I could see people going back being like, this old movie, all they do is talk. That might be a bad example, but I think you know what
There's a lot of movies that don't have superheroes in them, you know. like
no, I know.
So many.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
This is 1941, so 1939. You've got Wizard of Oz. You've got Mary Astor doing Meet Me in St. Louis in that time. So we're talking about a time frame where color movies are already majorly a thing, but a lot of the major studio turnout is musicals, right? Like you're just filming a stage. So seeing something like this is rather different. And it, oh, hang on, did my sound just go all wonky?
No,
or just
sound
my
fine.
Oh, just my ears.
Just you being wonky. Wonky Noel.
Water's boiling.
Something dark side, something complete.
Something
right.
Something Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, so This is almost going back a little bit more to. Do I have something on my face? Yeah,
Stay on topic.
I have. Yeah, so it reminds me a little more of like pre-code stuff, like your Mae West black and white movies, and it's sort of bringing in a code era vibe, that kind of I'm alone, I'm all by
Would this
myself.
movie wouldn't have an MPAA rating? This is before that. Is it the code you mean?
This is a code era movie.
So this would
Okay.
have an MPAA rating. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the Hays Code.
What's the Hays Code? Educate
So,
me, please.
the movie picture code thing.
Hmm.
So it's the precursor to the MPAA. So basically, in the 20s, things got a little too saucy, and a bunch of the kind of people who you think would went to the kind of like a priest or some church man, some man of God, and then they put together a whole code of things that you couldn't do in movies. There was also a comics code that came out around the same time, and so any sort of overt sexuality, etc. That's where you get the screwball comedies that like skirt around any sort of racy things, but there was other things in the code like miscegenation. So you, as part of the movie code, you couldn't have a black and white person like couple. So there's a whole list of stuff, and it basically just like kind of crushed all the cool stuff that they were doing in the pre-code era in the 1920s, and people like Mae West kind of lost their ability to do their Hollywood thing because that was their vibe, and movies got a lot more saccharine. So if you're thinking comics code, that's where you get the kind of the more hokey. Like Batman is like, I'm saving these children from blah blah blah. Like everything is a lot more saccharine. But yeah, that's where the MPAA film rating system was born from. So I can't remember when it was put in, but 1934 to 1968 is Hays Code era, the motion picture production code.
That certainly is F the CCA. What an antiquated fucking rebellion you're doing, sweetheart.
Who?
Yeah. Yeah.
No one was
That's
calling
great.
you sweetheart. No. I thought you were doing that too for a second. I was like, what are you doing?
Sweetheart.
This is illegal.
Yeah.
We're going to take you to a hotel room without a window. That's
Dame.
what an old-timey person would say, right?
Here we go.
Broad.
Pointed profanity, any licentious or suggestive nudity, the illegal traffic in drugs, any interference of sex perversion, white slavery, miscegenation, sex hygiene and venereal diseases, scenes of actual childbirth in fact or in silhouette.
I've got herpes, see?
You can't show a baby being born in silhouette. Crazy.
Yeah.
Someone must have tried doing that more than once. They're like, listen,
I'm not gonna say the next one because I don't want it to get clipped, but any instances of pedophilia, which I agree with, good code, ridicule of the clergy, and willful offense to any nation, race, or creed, except you can, the white people. I think they meant.
Well, it was.
And there are be carefuls. The use of the flag is one of them. Arson. The use of firearms.
Thanks,
Sedition.
Big Dipper. Yeah, this has the use of firearms in it for sure. I've never seen a movie this old where a guy dual wields handguns. So that was pretty sick. Dude, that's RC. Right, but that's it. That's some good brief history for the actual era of movie making, which is traditionally part of this segment in the old times. But yeah, we all saw the movie, we all watched it. Steven has a bit more history with it because he went to film school, and
I have my degree slightly behind it.
fuck's sakes. that a new record? I watched the Trivial Debates episode, and I believe Steve himself was like, I was waiting to see how long it would take for you to bring that up. You're like,
yeah, I forgot
It's
about
just
that.
funny. It's just funny to
it
me.
is funny. It's a good bit. Why don't we talk about production talk a little bit?
Okay.
So is
All
this
right, all
Papa-
right. Quiet on set. Are we rolling? Okay, let's shoot this piece of
Sound. Speed. Action!
Well, this is the segment where we sort of just talk about various aspects of the making of the film. I interestingly don't have. Do I have the?
This is Papa
here's-
and Grandpa Angelica Houston.
Okay. According to Watch TCM, Turner Classic Movies, the movie came $54,000 under budget, but I don't actually have the budget here.
It was $375,000.
So that's interesting because the Falcon itself is worth somewhere in the ballpark of like that or twice that, which is interesting.
How much did the props ended up selling for? A lot of money, like the Maltese Falcon props from this.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up while we talk. But yeah, this
see what
is John Huston's directorial debut, right? And he wrote this one as well. So he shopped the script for a while. And John Huston is, of course, Angelica Houston's father and the son of also royalty Walter Houston. I think that's his name.
And
Yeah.
according to Wikipedia, I guess Houston planned to film the film scene by scene in his screenplay. So like, would that be like a first for that? He sketched out detailed instructions for each shot. Were people doing that at this time even?
Storyboarding, you mean?
Well, it from what I'm reading here, it's like in the screenplay, it's written out, but it also says with sketches. So like, yeah, like a storyboard.
Probably, yeah. So early storyboarding, yeah. I don't know how prevalent storyboarding was. I know it became bigger, I think, in the 60s. I want to say it was like you couldn't really make a movie without doing it. It was, and people would become professional storyboard artists. But like, by like the 70s and stuff, it was like huge.
I thought they were already doing storyboards. Like I thought Snow White had been storyboarded. Yeah, I knew it. So Disney was the early
pioneers.
storyboarders.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense for an
1930s.
animated film to be storyboarded, but like for a live action, maybe not so prevalent.
I'm not 100% certain, but I mean, like, it became a thing where it's getting less and less now, unfortunately, because like there's a time where I was like, I want to be a storyboard artist. That's like all I really want to do for
So
my
Gone
job.
with the Wind, 1939, was the first live action film to be completely storyboarded before production began.
Cool.
Yeah. But now storyboarding is dead. AI does all
I didn't
of it.
even know that. I didn't know that it's gone away. Like what?
Well,
what
it went from
it?
like storyboarding became previs, and previs has now just become like it's almost like a little shitty animated movie it's just sort of like a little crappier version of the movie that you're going to watch.
Okay.
There's some good examples on like Prometheus. If you watch some of the special features on there, they prevised almost everything for that movie, so you can basically watch almost like a reboot level animated version of all of Prometheus, which makes sense when you're doing a movie that has such heavy and intense special effects shots. It's like we need to make sure we get all of this planned out before we start filming all this crazy stuff.
Do you know
to
where
make
they
sure that
still
we
do
got everything we
hand-drawn
need.
storyboarding? Sorry.
Yeah.
They still do hand-drawn storyboarding at Disney.
They still do it at Leica as well. They still do it. I'm not saying it's completely dead, but it's like the industry in general has gone. It's like you can't really specialize in storyboarding. It's almost like they just do it. Like the writers will do it and stuff.
It's mostly dead. If it was
yes.
all dead, you just go through his coat pockets and look for
only
loose
mostly dead.
change.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that this film was, according to Wikipedia, shot in sequence, which
That's
allowed for
something that
actors.
doesn't get done very often anymore either. Because it's
Was that something that was like pretty common back then? Because they didn't realize, like, let's just shoot this scene and then we'll edit it all together later.
I think
Did they not
it like
think
comes in
about
ebbs
that?
and flows, and like some directors only shoot that way. I think like I want to say Wes Anderson does that, where like everything is shot sequentially because he wants the actors to like be in the right mindset as the characters. So like we'll film this as it occurs, so it's almost like you're having it occur to you. Some directors also just don't give a shit because they kind of think of their actors as props and nothing more. But when you have directors who are so sort of like intrinsically tied up with their performances for their actors, they want to make sure that it all kind of plays out that way. So it was not a thing that was always done back then, but I'm pretty sure like it was more common back then, and then it went away entirely, and then it would just be dependent on like mostly the production company and the people behind it, whether they wanted to be that way or not. But I believe it ends up being a lot more expensive.
It depends on the type of movie too, because you're not doing a lot of location shooting at this time, right? You're doing it on back lots.
Yeah.
And in a lot of studios, but in a movie like this, it's really different from when you're doing stuff like Broadway Melody, where you have the scenes that you shoot that are just on the stage that are the song and dance stuff, and then you have the story. So those don't really allow you to do things in sequence in that way. And if you have a crazy director like Busby Berkeley, who has those like absolutely like nuts I mean, there's a reason it's called the Busby Berkeley thing, when it's just like ornate and dancing and everyone's going crazy. And there's like all of that. You're going to do those separately. Right.
Yeah.
So I can't remember what it was, but there's a bit of it depending on what kind of movie you're shooting at that time.
Yeah. It would be impossible to do movies like that. But because you gotta think about like this movie is only like maybe like 4 or 5 sets, and then maybe a couple of like backlot street sets here and there, but like it's pretty much like tiny locations for every single thing, and they're definitely all just like sound stages. So you could just like build a couple of rooms and then be like, we'll just film it, we'll do this now and then do this later, and if we ever need to go back, we'll have the sets until we're done.
And it depends on
go ahead.
Sorry. It depends on how far out the production is too, because they were churning these things out in a way that they just don't do now, right? Like you had an actor like Mickey Rooney in like 500 movies in 1 year because they were doing them like every week. They were just filming 100 because like they don't have legs in, like you don't have theater, you don't have DVD, you don't have any of that. So like you have to put something new in the theaters, and the studios, the way that they hired their like the way they had contract players was different. Like so they had this whole crew of people that you just have on payroll, so you have to use them in movies and do a whole bunch of stuff.
Something I learned from we talked about it on one of our episodes, but when Alfred Hitchcock put out Psycho during that time, and probably this movie was put out to the public like this, theaters were very different. You went into the theater and there was just a movie playing. And you went in, people were like kind of there as like we're going out to have dinner and drinks, and a movie's kind of on. You go into the theater, the movie's playing all day, and of course Alfred Hitchcock was like, no, we don't want to spoil the big surprise, so you got to come in, watch the movie, be quiet, and enjoy the whole thing. So during this era of films and theaters, that's why they probably were able to churn them out so fast too, because they were cheaply made. They knew people were just going to be sitting and watching like any part of the movie, and this doesn't really have like a twist to it. It's very like it's very like detective noir, where or like a Columbo episode too, where about 3/4 of the way through the movie there's a huge reveal. He just says all the stuff, and that's when Gutfield is like revealing his master plan, and then right at the end it's like, one more thing, O'Shaughnessy, and then he reveals that he has put everything together. So it
depended on the production company. It depended on the way that they wanted to release it, because in this era you also had road shows. So a movie it's like a limited, it's right now we'd call it limited release, where you just pick a few theaters here and there, but they would like go plan it out in that same way and do limited release and do like assigned seating, or like more similar. So what we do now, there was a movie that did get roadshowed recently. I think it was the Genetic Opera. They did a roadshow for that. So that was 20 years ago. But so like it still happens on occasion with like indie flicks and smaller things. But
Kevin Smith still kind of does that when he brings a movie out. He'll do it, show it at like a convention, or he'll do very limited, like you said, like very limited cities, and even less than like a limited release is typically when an indie film comes out on like 70 screens versus like 1,000 screens.
Psycho is 1960, but road shows were from the pre-code era until I want to say like probably late 40s, early 50s.
Okay. Interesting. Just a kind of a last little thing here, a little bit of a tidbit of information from soma.sbcc.edu. The iconic Maltese Falcon statuette prop was modeled after the Kniphausen hawk, a real European piece. And what's interesting about this is they made several versions of the prop. So this movie is kind of about like multiple Falcons being made and one existing to like be the, prime example of the collector piece that people wanted so badly. This actually is kind of happening now with these old collector pieces where collectors have them and they're highly coveted. So the Maltese Falcon sort of self-fulfilled its prophecy of becoming a very rare and highly collectible piece of film history from this era, which I think is just dandy, as they would say in 1941.
Funny story about the props, right? So they'd made multiple props for everything, like the ruby red slippers, for example. Like we know there were at least 9 pairs of them, and so the fun thing about this for collectors later is they're like, okay, which shot was this one used for? Was this one just used for rehearsals? Was this one actually in the movie? Was this one close-ups? Like if you look at all the ruby red slippers, there's some with orange felt on the bottom of them because those were the ones that were used for dancing because the brick road was just plywood. So you would get like hammering from the other shoes, but then in the close-up shots, they don't have the felt on them. So there's a bunch of lore with this, but when the studios all collapsed, like in the 70s, like 60s, 70s, they sold off all of this stuff. Debbie Reynolds had one of the biggest collections. Like she salvaged a lot of this prop stuff. So it's kind of interesting how a lot of this stuff, like even film, they would just like editing, just cut it and burn it. Like there was really no holding on the way that we do now to memorabilia and props. In the so it was the guys who were dissolving and like fire selling all of these things off that were the people who actually ended up saving a lot of this stuff. I did look up $4 million is what one of the statuettes sold for.
Wow.
Crazy. That's more than the movie.
Yeah. I was looking up there's a point in the movie where he's like, it could be worth 250,000 and then 250,000 more. And I was looking up like the adjusted for inflation, and the way he describes this thing is it's worth like $15 million in our current inflation, which is wild. That the original 10K that he puts out is like, 75,000 or something, which is wild. Yeah, the dollar was completely different.
This is also a remake.
Well, yeah, I noticed that there's a 1931 version of this.
I think there's 3 versions in total. I think,
or like a serialized version.
They had
of it, or
different
is that the novels?
No, they had different names. So there is a novel. It's based on that novel, and the guy. Oh my god, I had this factoid. I just like pick this stuff up, but it has a different name. One of the other ones, like I think one of them. The 1931 version is the same name, but there's another one. But I don't remember. It's gone now.
Well, that's good. We've overloaded the people with information for production talk. So why don't we talk about the body of the episode?
But hang on, why don't we just talk about Paul Verhoeven for 30 minutes and see what happens?
Mm-hmm. I just looked up how much the budget of the movie would be in today's money, and I was just curious to see if the Maltese Falcon itself was worth more than what the movie would cost to be made. Close. It's close. $4.5 million.
Wow.
Oh, also the guy who wrote the Maltese Falcon was a Pinkerton agent.
Oh,
interesting.
So the Pinkertons, for those who don't know, they're like security. They're a PI group. They're still around as like your regular security, but they were the old school PIs. They was.
Cool. All right. Should we go into the body?
The body of the episode.
Ho, 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 ho! Everybody back up, because here comes the body of the episode.
That's right. This is the segment of the show. This is the meat and potatoes of the show that we kind of break the movie apart and check out all its goo and its guts. I've been watching a lot of horror movies. I watched Jason X and Barbarian today, so I've got horror on the brain. The movie opens up with a crawl, basically about the Falcon itself, and we're in San Francisco. And a classic film noir woman is looking for help, and she says her sister's missing, I think. At first,
she's trying to hire him and her partner to, what's her name, Ruth or something? Ruth Wonderly. Yeah, she's looking for her missing sister who ran off from their home in New York and came to the city with a man named Floyd Thursby, and they agreed to help.
That's right.
Oh, sorry, I found it. Satan Met a Lady is the 1936 version of this.
Oh. Continue talking. I have to blow my nose. We all have the sniffles. What's going on? It's November, and immediately everybody gets the sniffles. Be right back.
Yeah.
I've always had the sniffles. So it's so funny. This era is like, I love this era. Like, it was so funny to me that he's saying that this movie was boring. I was like, wow, this movie's actually really good. It's like when you watch Casablanca for the first time after you've heard that it's a really good movie, and then you're like, damn, this movie's actually really good.
Yeah, no, I like this movie as well. I don't think it's as boring.
I don't like Citizen Kane very much, but I do like this one.
Yeah. No, I mean, Citizen Kane is one of those ones where it's like, I watched it in school as well, but I have not watched it since, because I'm like, I get it. Like, I understand its importance and I understand that it is a good movie, but I don't need to watch that again. I don't think.
No. Whereas this one, I'll watch it. I was like, this is one of the best movies that you guys will have done on this show. Like,
it's our classiest movie.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want to say that I was like, I don't want to say boring, just dry, just like, just it.
Listen, boring is subjective. So if it was boring to you, it's fine. I think that Spider-Man Far From Home is boring, but a lot of people would disagree with me. So
okay,
I thought Mid 4 was one of the most boring movies I've ever had to sit through.
I actually thought I liked Citizen Kane more than this movie. Because it's so like all over the place and weird and wild, but that's like, it's like the first Hollywood movie, right? So it kind of created.
It's just what we dubbed the greatest movie of all time for so long,
right?
That
which is actually Paddington 2. Let's be real.
People love that Paddington, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I've never seen Paddington 2, but I'm familiar with the love that it receives.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, again, subjective. If it wasn't exciting to you, then it wasn't exciting to you. Personally, I've watched this movie tons of times because I think that it is like, it's a perfect sort of representation of what film is to me, and like how things should be structured and how stories should be told. But to call it dry is fair. Like, I get that as well, that not everybody, especially because of the fact that it was made almost 100 fucking years ago at this point. Like, I understand how it could be a little bit trying when we live in an era where you're constantly being bombarded by sound noises and over the top special effects and things. And it's like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to find something compelling about a movie like this. But this movie is all about like tone and vibe and aura, as they say these days. The character performances are so, they're good. Like, it's very cartoony as well, right? Like, you watch this and everything, because it's also steeped deeply into pop culture, and it's been referenced by like The Simpsons and Animaniacs and all these cartoon shows that we grew up with, constantly would reference this movie. And it wasn't until I was in my like late teens, early 20s, that I finally kind of put all the connecting tissue together of like, oh, that's what all these references were all of my life, watching Reboot, and they're fucking talking about the Jade Monkey and stuff, and it's like, oh, they're talking about the Maltese Falcon. That's exactly what the reference.
This is a good point from Sweetheart Pro Wrestling. You can read it, but also I agree with that specifically because there's an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia that's shot. It's like a film noir, and it takes a lot from this movie, and it filled in a lot of blanks for me in a similar way to what you're describing, Steve.
I had a whole D&D arc in my D&D campaign that was based around the story of the Maltese Falcon.
Something you can remember about these movies that were trying to tackle these kinds of themes in this era is that there was so much that they couldn't show as well. So when you see some of the the way that how was it that they were in love? There was nothing to tell us that. Like there's stuff that you have to fill in.
There was no even imply, like he kisses her a couple times, like and they are like in love or whatever, but there's no like they start making out in that like cutaway to imply that they have sex, which I was like, that's an interesting thing. And I messaged Steve to be like, they can't show anything during this era at all, because not only is it like illegal on that level, but it's probably everybody's like hyper religious too. So there's like a religion element.
No. There's a religious element to the way that the Hays Code came about, but it's not that people were particularly more prudish in that area. It was just that as movies became more common, as more people were able to see them, like of course they wanted to, like there's the what about the children, and people start freaking out about stuff like that. And it wasn't illegal. Like the Hays Code was a self-regulating code, but you can't put these movies out. Theaters won't take them. Like there's a whole bunch of things that are boundaries that mean that you have to stay within this rigid code. And it wasn't until your 70s, like the auteurs that we understand now is breaking open cinema and the canon that we appreciate, that they started to really push against that code. So your Kubricks, they worked within code, and then also out of like these, they kind of crossed over that. So
you would also have people who would have such a hard time with the code. And this is like before getting like a rating system in place and stuff as well, right? Where it's like they would purposefully put things into their movies to put it up against the board that they knew would get removed in order to be able to appease them. So they would put all this shit that they know they wouldn't get past it, specifically so that they would tell them you have to remove this, this, and this, but you can keep this, this, and this. And you could end up like bartering with systems to be able to put things that you actually wanted in there that you thought might get removed by putting things that were even more intense in the movie.
So if you watch like Lolita, if you watch something like Lolita, it's really, really disjointed, but that's because it's a very hard story to tell within the code. And Kubrick will tell you that it was the code that made that movie bad. He was the person to make that movie, and that movie's bad because he's bad at making that movie. But like it's still choppy because of that, right? It's very constraining. So to have something like this is pretty cool that they managed to skirt the code, make something interesting that's still like shocking, that still has a lot of the that you can do in noir at all.
Yeah. I will say I was afraid to reveal this to you guys. My notes are they're very different because I was trying to follow the movie. I found the movie difficult to follow a lot of the time because it is very like dialogue heavy. So my notes are very like stream of consciousness what I'm sort of describing on the screen. So I'm gonna be wrong. It's gonna sound like I wasn't even watching the correct movie. So feel free to just correct anything that I say, because my next note is
crazy that you're telling us that, because we already do that anyway. We
do that every episode. Usually I think that I'm in the right. Usually I think I got it. But this time, here's my next note. Mysterious dark-haired man is coming to see her. They set up security, and they sort of introduce Spade and Archer as the private investigators. And there is an interesting shot of a man being shot at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. It's also like when you think about every noir movie you've seen after this, right? That how it did create a genre that it still kind of goes to this day. We still get a noir movie every once in a while. Even more so stylized than what you see in this. But it's funny because like almost every movie where there's a private detective, it's like they're blatantly an alcoholic whose office is like dusty and full of cobwebs and like the windows are dirty and shit. In this movie, they're like at the top of the fucking Empire State Building. You can see the whole city out their window, and it's like this nice pristine office.
Shaft.
It's like Shaft.
It's exactly like Shaft.
But yeah, I mean, and I guess Shaft technically can fall into the noir category as well. But yeah, it's just like it's almost like the trope of the private eye hasn't been sort of bent into different shapes yet, and this is just sort of like the template that has been messed around with for again like almost 100 years at this point. You know, you see stuff like Sin City or something, you know, where like they go for this like super hard stylization, but it's like falling into these tropes that haven't even been created when this movie emerged, which is kind of an interesting thing to think about.
The prototype here is like we have the PI who kind of exists by his own set of rules. He's almost like a Batman.
But he's like not tortured and stuff, yeah, right? Like he hasn't been. I guess this would be the inciting incident that would cause him to become the character from like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right? Like the
Maltese Falcon too.
Character.
He's all messed up from this particular caper.
Yeah, but so we open with the lady, the lost sister, who she's looking for, and neither Archer or Spade believe her or her story. They just make her overpay for it, and then Archer's sweet on her, so he tails. He's supposed to follow Thursby and figure out where he's going, and he ends up getting shot. And then we find out that Thursby's also been shot, and that what's her name, Wonderly, isn't where she said she was, and now the plot thickens. So that's where we start. We don't even get into the Maltese Falcon and all of that.
Yeah, this is just
for a while.
Yeah,
this is just a 10-minute short before the movie gets going. Just a kind of a slice of life for them. I really like the shot that comes like it goes from like the window down to the floor of their logo like displayed on the floor. I thought that was a really unique thing to do in the movie. There's some other stuff like that. Like he's reading cards at one point and it's just like an over the shoulder shot, which really surprised me because it's so common now. But you wouldn't think that there'd be an over the shoulder shot of somebody like reading through cards.
Yeah, you also have to think about like just how massive cameras and stuff were at this point. Like it would be very complicated to get a lot of the shots that they accomplish in this movie, which is a thing that one of the reasons that I like this movie so much is that it's visually stimulating throughout. They never kind of just fall into like, what is the appropriate angle that for this scene? They're like, no, like what is the most interesting way to shoot what we're about to shoot? Because it is, like you say, a lot of dialogue, back and forth dialogue, but having it just be a flat camera angle, like a master shot that you just intersplice the talking heads into is not nearly as interesting as like, I want to shoot from behind this guy's shoulder, low angle up towards a dude who's got a big shadow being projected on the wall behind him. Like that kind of stuff it's very cool.
Also, to make the scenes more interesting, I noticed that there's a lot of interesting walking around. Gutman, I thought, was a very unique character. Like he'll be like sitting and pontificating, and then he'll get up and kind of walk across the room and explain his thing, and then he'll play with some stuff and kind of walk back. And meanwhile, Sam is kind of like sussing out the situation on his own. Like there was a lot of dialogue, but there was a lot of action sort of happening in the scene to not make it just two people standing and talking to each other, which was also probably something that was unique for the era.
The movie's also pretty funny. Like, am I the only
I was
person
going to
who thinks
say
that
there's some
funny?
legitimate comedy. Like, is this a bit of a dramedy in a lot of ways?
Well,
Like-
this is another thing about this era, right? Is like movies, they didn't really have solid genre at this point yet. Like everything was meant to be an event, right? Which is why you would go to like those the grand events like something like the Wizard of Oz, where it's like it's not just this, it's not just that, it's like a whole bunch of things compiled together, because it's like these are events, people are going, they want to be able to laugh and cry and be scared and and have a good time at all angles. So to have a movie like this where you're like, oh, it's a genre movie, but the genre hasn't even been started yet. This is not a thing yet. So it's like it's creating a genre while also still falling into like having to tick the boxes of like, what are the people, what's going to resonate with people emotionally, and not just one specific emotion. I want you to feel like a bunch of different things.
So like on paper, this is at the time, this is a drama. That's what they were probably trying to make here.
No, I think they were intending it for it to be a
Mystery.
little bit funny.
Yeah.
Or a mystery, or a mystery. So if you've watched this show for a long time, you guys know that I love genre bend stuff, like where they mix. But that's a very good point, Steve. Like if a lot of these genres haven't even been invented yet, you're just sort of watching a primordial ooze movie that doesn't know what it is. It's the primordial ooze of filmmaking right here.
Ooze movies. That's a month.
Ooze movies. Sam receives a call in the night. He goes out to investigate the murder. He gets there. Sam's questioned by some police. They throw out some accusations.
Well,
I
his
love
partner
the
was
term. His partner was killed, of course. Yes. I love the term. You've heard Kraken Wise. Well, they say Kraken Foxy, which boom. That's here forever.
Can I say something about genres quickly?
Mhm.
Of course.
So there were basic genres: musical, screwball comedy. Like it just wasn't as the minutia of a genre wasn't what
Yeah.
it is now. But there were distinct like types of movies that the studios wanted to make. Like you do a sci-fi one, like that's just sci-fi, but it doesn't mean that there isn't more. I don't know, like genre mixing is a thing. I think we got too hung up on that, but this movie is very much a noir, very much a drama, mystery.
Mhm.
Western, that's another genre.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, what I meant to say was like it was a lot simpler back then in terms of genre. Now genre is just like
Yes,
it's
exactly.
very clean cut, but at the same time things are overlapping everywhere. That's like horror now is like there's like 10 different types of horror. There's like subgenres within horror, right? Like in a lot of ways it's richer, but at the same time sometimes you crave that simplicity. It's like I just want to go for this one specific vibe.
I just want to see a kill man mow through a bunch of teenagers.
Well, I kind of got excited when like the Marvel entity that exists, this MCU, they started like touting that they were going to start doing genre projects within the MCU, and I was like, oh, that could be pretty interesting, and then they just never fucking did it.
Yeah, they did
Well,
one.
Werewolf by
Dragon
Night.
Ball and-
Werewolf by Night was okay. That was more of like a TV special. It's only an hour long, and Moon Knight felt a little bit more slanted towards it being genre, but it ends up just getting kind of marred by everybody wants superhero stuff.
The issue
then you
is
have-
that they have to have everything have this very strong visual connective tissue for those movies, and it bugs the absolute shit out of me, where it's like, if you're going to try and make a horror movie, you should film it like a horror movie. You shouldn't film it so that it looks like every other MC movie that exists.
Right.
It should be filmed in the genre that you're trying to represent.
I think
anyway.
Werewolf by Night like kind of nailed the horror. They shot it in black and white. It's in a like a it's like a bunch of people hunting in a house. It has that like haunted house vibe, almost like an Addams Family. I think that one is the only real true horror. What did you say, Dingus? I thought you mentioned.
Did they shoot it in black and white, or did they shoot it in color and then color correct it though?
I think they color corrected it because I think you can find the color version of it. I think the color version came out the next year. So
yeah, it is like but I think that they shot it with the intention of it being black and white. So like the color version is colorized, I'm pretty sure, but I
think
I
you're
could be
right,
wrong,
yeah.
but I'm pretty sure they filmed it as they would have filmed a black and white movie.
Oh,
think
I'm
they
just saying that now when you see black and white, it is not always that it was in like filmed in black and white, and that's why it's not as rich as when you film in black and white, because you are doing
and I'm pretty sure the intention was that it was like, we're filming this in black and white, but they didn't use film. They used digital,
True.
right? But I think they did the old tricks, because like, I'm sure you guys both know that like in old movies, you wouldn't wear a white shirt, you would wear a cream shirt, because a cream shirt looks better in black and white than it does getting an actual white shirt. But I'm pretty sure they use those same sort of like strategies. But I would have to look more into Werewolf by Night. But I remember when it first came out, I was like, oh, interesting.
That's very cool.
Yeah. I was
like
kind of
that.
hoping they'd do more of those, because I like that one. I still think they should have introduced Blade through that. I was like, Blade, right? Why not bring Blade in through the werewolf story? Would make sense to me.
Back then, Kevin Feige had a vision to release so much more, and then people weren't watching it, is the problem. And then they were lambasting it on internet. And he was just like, you know what? Fine. We're going to do 2 movies a year and 1 TV show, and that's all you get. And they've actually slowed down production on all of the TV and everything. So like in 2026, we're going to get like, it's going to go back into like the cycle of the big Avengers movie and the big Spider-Man. And that's probably all we're going to get. I don't even know what the next TV show is after Marvel Zombies, which was pretty good, but Steve discovered that they used AI on their marketing material, which is pretty disappointing.
I didn't discover it. I looked at the poster.
Yeah, I know, but
This
it
is
was a
a lot of
discovery because
AI.
I was tricked. I was like, surely Disney wouldn't. Surely Disney did. And
I went into my Photoshop and I zoomed in and started circling things like this is 6 fingers on this hand here. This thing doesn't make sense. An artist would never do that. Yeah, it was disappointing.
so Iva arrives. I think this was like the wife of Archer, is what I sort of gleaned from it. She asks Sam bluntly if he killed him. And this widow thinks that he did it. So
Did you kill him? Don't hold it against me, though. I'm.
I just have to ask.
yeah. Sam goes to see Miss O'Shaughnessy, who was originally Miss Wonderly. She lied about everything. I wrote, warned Thursby was dangerous, but didn't know her husband was going to die.
Whose
That's my
husband?
I don't know. She's a dangerous liar. Sam sees right through her act. She asks him for help finding the killer. Asks if her husband had enemies.
Husband.
Oh, I think that I thought that I think I got Iva and Miss O'Shaughnessy confused here before I kept watching. They talk about a man from Hong Kong.
I think I see why you didn't enjoy this movie too much.
I was having a hard time with this movie, man. I had to rewind it several times to be like, what? Just what? Because they explain that there's so much expositive dialogue that just explains everything in a very short time. They talk so fast that I'm stupid. I'm not that stupid. pretty dumb. But I had to be like, can you just slow it down? I should have watched this movie on 0.75 speed. Yeah. But anyway, he gives her the spiel about give me how much money you got on you, dame, which I thought was funny. And he finds a hat with the Hong Kong insignia on it. So we're sort of getting to the actual the mystery of it all now. And then we meet Mr. Cairo, and
oh my goodness,
he brings up the Falcon. He wants $5,000 for the recovery. There's a very good comic moment in this where they have their little song and dance. He knocks him out. He gets the gun from him, and then as Cairo's leaving, he gives his gun back, and then Cairo holds him up again.
Yeah,
which I laughed out loud too. I thought that was intentional.
Put your hands behind your neck. I'm gonna raid your office. It was just perfect. And Peter Lorre's delivery of that line, he's such an interesting dude. I think he's in brownface in this, which it's 1941. That's gonna happen. But
it's the accent. I'm I don't even know what accent he's trying to do.
Well, I think he was Hungarian, was he not? And he often was cast in roles of kind of foreigner.
Yeah, just put this fez on.
But the first memory that I have of Peter Lorre was in in Aladdin. The genie does
right. Yeah,
an impression of him and says, I won't bring someone back from the dead. If I won't bring someone back from the dead, I don't like doing it. And he's doing the Peter Lorre. So it wasn't until I watched stuff later that I was like, oh my goodness. And I don't know. I think that's kind of cool when kids media brings you into that and you don't actually put it together until you're older. But what a funny guy.
Yes, master. Is that guy?
Mister, the planes. Yeah, they multiple even the character from The Nightmare Before Christmas, the Igor character is quite clearly doing a Peter Lorre voice.
Who's the Warner Brothers used to lampoon, all of their characters were lampooning some famous actor. Who I know Peter Lorre is one of them, right? Can you guys think of that? They might have actually just had Peter Lorre show up.
Animaniacs, you mean?
Well, yeah, but I mean, even before that, like back during like original old school Bugs Bunny and stuff.
No, I don't know.
Oh, well, before that, like if you go back into Warner Brothers cartoon stuff, there's one that Hollywood Steps Out, and it's a Warner Brothers cartoon, but it's all just Hollywood actors and characters and caricatures of them. So you have like Clark Gable walking through the whole thing, and then at the end the Marx
Yeah.
Brothers show up. And so there was a lot of that going on. So yeah, Peter Lorre, I believe, does show up in that one too.
No, I was right. And I remember this from watching Looney Tunes as a kid. They didn't come up with a character the way, Bugs Bunny is what's his face, but they literally just would just have Peter Lorre come out as himself, and this is what he looked like.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm so
I
tired.
remember that.
Is Bugs Bunny supposed to be Clark Gable? Bugs Bunny parody of it's not really gonna.
This is
Clark Gable. He's supposed to be Clark, like a Clark
Okay.
Gable parody. You guys don't know about that? How all the WB characters are.
Yes, I do. I just
Okay.
didn't remember Peter Lorre, but as soon as you showed him, yes,
They just had him
absolutely,
come
I
out.
do.
Yeah.
That's too funny. It's like, yeah, that's we need more of that in the world now.
In the future, what are the actors from now that are going to be lampooned in a similar way? I could see a Brad Pitt, some cartoon character that's clearly Brad Pitt.
Christopher
They don't
Walken.
make cartoons.
Christopher
It's
Walken.
going to
Yeah.
be AI anyway, so.
Hey, we don't talk about Bruno on this show.
Oh, Archer. The thing I know him from is that he is the district attorney in Miracle on 34th Street with baby Natalie Wood.
Mm.
Mr. Cairo comes to Sam, calls him out. He was trying to see if he had the Falcon already. Oh yeah, I already mentioned that. He gives him his gun back and he sticks him up again. Sam's being trailed. We get a bit of a cab chase where he jumps in a cab. Sam heads into a building through an alley, heads over to O'Shaughnessy's place. He sees through her act again, tells her about Cairo and the bird, and he kisses her. Humphrey Bogart out here just kissing people.
Yeah, he's like, come here, let me see those lips.
Let me see
And he's
those
just-
gams.
Yeah, he's just kissing everybody. He kisses the widow right on the mouth too.
That
yeah,
I
but
did notice.
he was porking her, so.
Yeah.
And that was something I wanted to bring up with you guys because that was seemed because I wrote in my notes like she shows up and he's like, why did you let her in here to his secretary? And you got the idea, you got the real feeling that they were doing some stuff behind their back. I do love the idea. I was just gonna say I do love the idea in this movie that he is a PI, but he is very much like he feels like he's seedy as we learn more about him and we learn more about his code. I always kind of just get regular police or regular investigators mixed up with PIs, unless they are that what Steve was mentioning earlier, like they're very like traumatized by something. When you have a character like Humphrey Bogart, Sam Spade in this, I kept getting confused. But then he would just be so anti-police because he's trying to just do his own private investigation stuff. That was a unique thing that I haven't really experienced before. I really like that. I really like the idea of him being pre-trauma of the big case, and his partner's dead, and that's the thing that sets him into becoming this character.
Well, the big twist in this is that he doesn't seem like he cares about his partner at any point. He doesn't particularly like him, and he was porking his partner's wife. And at the end, the only reason, like, this whole thing has just been to avenge the partner, but it's not because he has any particular interest in it. It's just because a man has to have a code. Like, he was just like, if somebody offs your partner, you have to do something about it. But he didn't like him.
I suppose you're supposed to avenge your partner. It's kind of how he frames it. Also, the second that is the day after his partner gets off, he's like, change all of the media, change all of the painting on our building, change all the names. It's just Sam Archer private investigation now, or Sam Spade investigation. Get rid of all notion that this guy even existed as part of it.
Like
So
the cops
he almost
think
like
that
couldn't.
the cops think that he killed Archer. The wife, Archer's wife, widow, thinks that he killed Archer as well. And Humphrey Bogart, like Sam Spade, just like he wouldn't do that because that's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
When he already is drinking the milk, so why buy the cow? Is that the same?
I got steak at home.
They go to meet Cairo. He tells them about the person that's trailing them. I think this is the scene where they look out at the end of the scene. They look at the window and see, I think, the Wilbur guy, the gunman. I like that O'Shaughnessy's laying on so thick, and even Sam is like, "You gotta lay off, dude. We've already kissed. You know, you're laying it on way too thick." Cairo can get the 5K anytime in order so O'Shaughnessy can produce the Falcon, because she can find it. It's hidden somewhere. They mentioned the Fat Man, who I think ends up being Gutman.
Gutman, yeah.
Which is just
Funny.
Gutman just sounds like a fat guy name, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's the gut man.
He's the Gutman.
Funny.
And I wrote, "What is this Falcon for?" It's just an heirloom. And then they get into a fight because Cairo gets fresh with the woman.
It has one of the Infinity Stones inside of it.
Yeah.
Actually, it has all of them.
Yeah, it's got 6 of the 7 Infinity Stones inside it.
Did you not like the history lesson in the middle of it though, where they're like the king of Spain, they were going to take it to him, it disappeared, and like there's this whole story about how the Maltese Falcon, why it was given, there's the Knights Templar, there's like a whole bunch of shit going on there. Man. I don't know, I like that stuff.
It's basically like, it's like the Da Vinci Code or something. It's part of it's got a codex inside of it.
Do you know what it's like? It's like the prologue to the Lord of the Rings, where they're showing what happened to there was the fight for the ring, and then this guy has it, and then he gets shot, and then it gets lost, and then like someone picks it up here, and then
we should have had Humphrey Bogart being like, and then the Knights Templar lost it, and it fell into a river, and there it waited for 100 years until it fell into the hands of the most unexpected of people.
Walter.
Kind of what happened.
No, it's Peter Lorre as Gollum.
Oh, can you do the rest of the show in Peter Lorre's voice, please?
I don't think so.
Oh,
gosh. They all fight because Cairo gets fresh with the woman. Can't do
my
it.
Precious. It's like biting.
Yay! I'm so happy. That made me so happy. I love this movie.
You'll get smacked and you'll like it, he says as he's fighting. He basically, when he just punches Cairo in the face like a couple times, and it's almost like he took his own hands and made him hit himself, is what I kind of got from that. And then he says, "You'll get smacked and you'll like it." I thought that was fun. The cops show.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop
hitting yourself. That's like a Bugs Bunny moment.
Well, we're not there yet, but that's what he kind of does to Elisha Cook Jr.'s character, where he's just like this idiot, this like stupid kid over here. You should like the whole time he's just shitting on him as like Elisha Cook Jr. is just getting more like frazzled with like.
Is that Wilbur the gunman guy? I think his name's Wilbur.
Yeah, he's like, why don't we just sell this fucker over here?
Exactly.
Hey, idiot, you left like.
I love when he finally
right
breaks.
here. Why the fuck would we?
Crying, tears in his eyes. Like,
listen,
you'll be sleeping with the fishes soon.
He's the dumbest one in the room. Well, what's to stop him from blabbing about all of this? No one will believe a word he says. Look at him cry.
It's so funny.
Oh man. We'll get to that in a minute. The cops show up. They seem to know about Archer's wife and Sam. They think Sam is guilty. At that point, they hear Cairo scream. Then he tells the police, she pistol whipped him. Which I thought was great.
My favorite... Sorry. My
I was just
favorite
saying,
early
there's be
line.
new Cairo, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
My favorite early line is when he's like, he's when Bridget O'Shaughnessy's character, when she's pretending that she's the other character, is like, he was wearing a gray hat and a gray coat, and I was like, how can you tell? Everything's gray.
When they walk through the streets, and I was thinking about fashion during this and fashion of the era, it's like, why did all the men wear the exact same thing? Like, there was no
how it was
breaking
back
from
then.
the fedora and trench coat look.
Well, one, it's a movie.
True, but like,
Two, you explain to me why men also wear the same thing in
Yeah, you go to
different
certain parts of the
colors.
city at any point, and everybody's wearing a goddamn suit. It's
I
wild
guess.
to me. It's crazy. It's a
Everybody has
uniform
broccoli
for-
haircuts.
Everybody's got a broccoli haircut and a suit and tie.
No, but you're not wrong. Fashion of the time, like you couldn't leave without a hat. That's why it's like grab your hats, grab your hats. Like this was
Yeah.
an era where you had to be wearing a particular kind of thing. But of course, like her mink, which is like a dead creature with its legs still hanging.
Yeah.
Like
I like that most of this movie seems to be at nighttime. That's why I kept thinking of Sam Spade as like Batman, because this version of San Francisco is always at night. I know there are scenes that are in the day, but I don't think they show the daytime ever. They're in that like hotel, the Belvedere, when they're, Cairo's kind of coming down for the morning at one point, but the rest of the movie seems to be happening at night.
Well, usually when he's in his office, it's daytime, but then, yeah, like so, like the Archer and Spade, that's like the sunlight coming through the door, and like you see the shadow on the ground, right? But there definitely a lot of nighttime.
I was confused about it being in black and white, I guess.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. Like the gray things, it's because it's in black and white.
Can I ask you guys a question? Did he say horse fetish, or did I mishear that? I rewound this so many times, and I think he as an insult, he's like, "Do you have some kind of horse fetish?"
Yes, I think he did say horse fetish
as like a disparaging term.
Yeah, the script originally said like, this guy loves sucking horse cock. They had to change it. They had to change it
because of the code.
Because the code, he's like, a man's got to have his code, and he can't be talking about horse cock.
Why is this guy always bringing up horse cock?
Horse fetish.
Some sort of horse
That's
fetish.
What we'll call it a horse fetish.
Sam talks about the gun that was planted and gets punched for it. Kyra leaves. Good cop says, "I hope you know what you're doing." So there was a bit of a good cop, bad cop element with the two police. One guy's like laying it on thick, like, "You did it," even though Sam keeps being like, "What? Like, what are you implying that I did?" And they're like, "I don't know yet, but it's something." But the good cop kind of is like, "You better know what you're doing here, because it seems like you're going a little too deep." And Sam just kind of laughs it off. But O'Shaughnessy, she's into it. He asked her about the Falcon. She doesn't know what's so important about it, but it is from Malta. She describes it to Sam. Sam calls her a liar. Why is this thing so mysterious? Sam goes for another kiss and sees the guy watching out the window. Sam at the Hotel Belvedere to see Kyra. This is the scene I was just mentioning where he goes in the daytime. He confronts who we find out to be Wilbur, the gunman guy who he thinks is stalking him. They have a verbal altercation. Sam's friend comes. I think, is this Gutman at this point? I don't think it is, but Sam's friend and Sam confront the gunman. I think this is a different guy. This might have been good cop from the previous scene. All these guys look the same too. It was a confusing thing for me. Are these white men? Medium build, medium height?
There's only the one that was in brown face. You were like, that guy's different.
That's Cairo. You can tell because he's clearly from Egypt.
And he looks weird.
And he has a very weird face. And he's always talking like this.
Thank you.
Cairo comes down from his hotel. room. Doesn't want to talk to Sam again. Cairo was interrogated up there, we find out off screen, but didn't give anything up. And they also scare off the gunman. Sam heads to work. O'Shaughnessy claims somebody was at her house. He calls her, or he calls, I wrote the duh. I think I was just like jamming on my keyboard. But O'Shaughnessy claims someone was at her house. Also, he kisses her on the nose. He's kind of sweet. That's kind of a sweet little thing.
Do you want to know a boring fact?
Yes.
At this time, fetish actually has a different meaning. It's an inanimate object or a little idol for worshiping.
Oh, so he's talking about a horse statue. What do you got? Some sort of horse statue in there? You pervert. Still uses it for perverted things.
He's cracking Foxy.
Man, I love old movies because I'm such a know-it-all and a nerd and a loser. So this kind of stuff, just like I got a horse fetish for it.
There's a lot of that. You think about how language evolves, and you go back to the 1940s, and most of what they're saying you understand, but they do throw in little colloquialisms like constantly, and you really have to like navigate what the fuck they mean by it. And I think that was my biggest problem with this movie is like they be saying a stream of consciousness that I recognize, and then they throw in something like horse fetish, and then I just become hyper fixated on what the fuck do you mean by
it's like you're getting like deneuralized, but like the Men in Black just like erase the whole sequence of events up to that one point, and all you can think about is horse cock.
One of my favorites is early in the movie where they're talking about the bills, and he's got a bunch of brothers in there, like that there are more bills in her wallet.
Right. I mean, within context, you can usually figure it out with context, but sometimes, you're like, what? And then you just have to be like, don't worry, it's probably nothing.
Yeah, like the reason I looked at the horse fetish thing was because I remember hearing it, but thinking like, oh, I guess that's like I didn't know what it meant until now, but it didn't. Blah. Brain.
Carry on. Sort of see the connection too. Like you fetishize inanimate objects, so through the way that words evolve, eventually it's like I can see how it became the word that it became. You obsess over like an object, and then fetishes are an obsession over a certain small thing, right? A kink,
or sometimes a big thing,
or a big thing, huge thing. I like that Sam and his secretary have such a close relationship that while O'Shaughnessy's in the office, he walks out. He's like, "So, can you use your women's intuition to tell me what she's actually like? Do you like her?" And she's like,
"Yeah." He's like, "Use your moon powers."
Yeah. Although he calls her a detective, and she does do a lot of detective work for him. She's like, that paralegal in The Good Wife that goes around and does detective stuff and lawyer stuff, even though she's a paralegal played by Archie Punjabi. But like, that's
a
did I say her name wrong? Mad. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool that she's not just a secretary. She's not like she's actually just she's part of the detective agency in like the way that what's her face is in that with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and that guy.
April O'Neil.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, she's got more to do in this movie than a lot of like Bond girls do in James Bond movies, where like she actually has stuff going on that is interesting, and she has a lot of like agency and investment in their actual agency to be successful in solving the crimes. And
it's kind of what I personally want Moneypenny to be.
Well, you never get it. You don't get that.
No,
I mean, maybe later in like the Craig movies, you get a little bit of it, but not much.
Where she shoots him. Yeah,
she shoots him in the fucking head. Yeah.
I got taken off my assignment for shooting you.
Yeah. I have unresolved trauma surrounding that moment.
But she's like the only reason that it all goes off as well. Like she's part of the actual plan that's going on that you don't realize is going on the whole time because you're so stuck with everyone being like, so this dingus, where is it? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and at this point in the movie, like O'Shaughnessy's still just the femme fatale character. We know something's up with her, but we don't know like who she is. In fact, in this part, it's like he asked the secretary to like take her to a safe house, basically, right?
her mom's
And
house.
change cabs if you need to, which I thought was interesting. So Sam finally goes to see Mr. Gutman, and the gunman from the lobby earlier was there. They discussed the Falcon. Tells Gutman Kyra offered 10K, which isn't true. He offered him 5. Gutman says it's worth much more, 10,000 pounds even. Interesting. Which is worth $220,000 now. 10K. Sam flies off the handle about the situation, and I wrote, "Mans has a temper." And then there's the scene where they go to talk to the DA about the situation. Sam flips on the DA as well because they keep accusing him of everything. And Sam gets picked up by the gunman. As they walk back to Gutman, Sam grabs him and takes the guns. He's hiding 2 handguns in his fucking pockets, which was pretty great. I like that this guy's dual wielding pistols. Great stuff. And this is the next scene is the scene where Gutman they go back to Gutman again, and he kind of tells them the history of the bird and how Malta was owned by Spain, and the Crusaders who went there wanted to take it over, and in return the Falcon, they give them a Falcon every year or something to represent the deal that Spain still owns Malta, but they are giving tribute back to Spain to show that we recognize that you own this, but you gave this to us. I think is sort of like an acknowledgement. And so the Falcon actually might be gold covered in gems that was painted black with an enamel to hide the gold and the gems. It's appeared through history. Sorry?
No, to ignore me.
At one point it appeared in Paris where it had been turned black. Nobody really knew what it was. The bird was then found in a shop, and now people were hunting for it there. And 17 years elapsed, and now it's reappeared again. And Gutman was starting to buy it. He was starting to purchase it, but it's gone missing. It got stolen somewhere along the way. And Sam actually has his finger on it for this with O'Shaughnessy. That's kind of like how we got here. He offers him $25,000 for delivery, or $250K. No, $25 for delivery, $25 later, and $100,000 and $250,000. He says a bunch of numbers for different things. Later in the movie, we find out that it's just 10. It's just you're going to get 10K now and some money later. But he starts just offering an exorbitant amount of money.
I definitely didn't follow that part. I was just like, yeah, they're just.
I was trying, but you saw what happened in my notes.
But you're also not like the same with how her stories don't fit, and then you're like, wait, what the hell is she talking about? And his stories don't fit. Like these people are they're trying to confuse him. So if I'm confused, that's what they're trying to do, you know? They're just.
This movie is actually based off my 2025 notes that I took while watching this movie. It's kind of like a time travel thing.
My main takeaway from this movie is like, oh, this movie is just about a bunch of people tricking each other.
Yes.
They're all
It's
just
a play.
Yeah.
It's a stage play. This would do a very beautiful stage play.
It'd be easy to turn into a stage play too.
Would be surprised if they've done one already. Oh, I forgot that he the way he gets that guy's guns out of his pocket is he pulls his jacket around him.
Yeah.
Damn it! This coat always gets me.
The part I was actually really surprised about was when he got drugged in Gutman's.
That's literally this part. That's the next scene because Gutman is just explaining things. He's offered him some drinks, and I asked Steve, is this the first time in movie history that they use the ability to have somebody being knocked out in first person, it go like staticky.
Oh yeah,
It gets blurry.
I didn't know, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because of the amount of like experimental camera angle stuff they're doing in this movie, but I don't know the answer to that.
I hope so. Because it was confusing to me. I thought it was a shot left in because I didn't realize he was getting knocked out yet. And I was like, did they accidentally leave this weird, like blurry shot in? But then 2 seconds later, Humphrey Bogart's great acting. He's going like, oh
My eyes,
and
my vision, it's all blurry.
as he passes out, like Cairo's there, which is like a pretty crazy reveal. And they all leave Sam there. And when Sam wakes up later in the night, I don't know. He's all like discombobulated, but he goes into the bathroom and he like washes his face and he makes a phone call that's like, we got to get to the bottom of this. And then he turns over this like hotel room, just, like flipping stuff and moving the mattress and everything, which was cool. Real investigation style stuff.
That's how they investigate things nowadays.
It's true. Well, that's how the police investigate things.
Just tear the
You've really got me on that first person thing, but I don't think so because I've watched a lot of other movies of this era, not noirs. And like I'm trying to think of some of the shots that they do that are just kind of like unusual like that one. And you wouldn't think that it would be a thing, but it is a thing.
Yeah,
but
no,
I swear
I
I've seen that before.
Like there could be like 20 other times that it's been done before this, but just based on like, sorry, I have the movie playing right now because I'm trying to find it because I don't remember that.
No,
exactly.
but like, yeah, it does. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter how many other times it's done. It's like the way that it's utilized in this movie, the way that these shots are used in this movie to create the ambiance that you have and to still like break some of that and like make it funny in those ways. It's very clever. Like you're using a whole bunch of different tools to make this.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest sentence I've ever said.
I also fucking kicked him right in the head. Jeez. It's brutal. My face.
Also, when Sam leaves this place and goes to like, I think he goes to talk to like the police again, that like a ship has been burnt out. And I thought it was very interesting that like for this 2-minute shot, they just burned a ship, which was pretty crazy to see.
And I like how they very much do the MCU Fast and Furious thing of like, nobody died. Everybody
made it okay.
If your girl was in there, I'm telling you, she made it out okay.
It is crazy because like I watched Nosferatu, the new one, the other day as well. And that movie, it's not black and white, but there are tons of moments within the movie that are. And you can even just see in something like that, something that's made in 2024, like using these old school sort of film techniques to just capture just a vibe based in like there's so much that you can do in black and white that you can't do with color. Also vice versa, obviously, but like there's a tonal importance to it that like you forget about because there's so few movies that are modern movies that are black and white, right? Which is why I did appreciate that Werewolf by Night thing because I'm like, at least they're trying, at least they're doing some interesting, cool things with the color grading here.
That's why I like The Artist, even though nobody remembers it, and because it won the Academy Award, it's like very much maligned. But I really like that movie for like the vibes that it does in black and white.
Yeah,
I haven't seen The Artist, but I do want to. It's a movie that is on my radar that I would like to watch.
It's good.
It's good. I'm excited to watch Nosferatu as well. I think that we should have gone to see it in theaters as one of our Hey, did you see this one movie outings?
Yeah.
But we didn't really get that one together. Hoping Predator, we can go see Predator
I'm
Badman.
trying.
It was good though. The Nosferatu, I really liked it a lot. There was one moment when I was watching that I out loud said, "Well, that's the coolest fucking shot I ever seen." To no one.
That's awesome.
And then I went, "Booyah!" And I said, "Booyah." Why did I say booyah?
Oh, Steven,
did you watch?
You know.
Did you watch Frankenstein yet?
No.
It's another one.
I don't know why you might know this.
Mm.
There's that 7-minute continuous shot That's a very new thing that they used in this movie, but the 7-minute continuous shot didn't actually make it to the final cut of the movie. But it's the first time they've done an incredibly elaborate stage 7-minute continuous shot in this movie. Also, back to back to talking about the stuff that they're using. Like, this is a directorial debut, which is like really freaking impressive. I mean, like, now you know what royalty that family is and how talented they are.
He's just inventing new ways to film shots.
I don't know if that was the first instance of having a continuous shot that long, but I do know that like at this time that was a thing that they were trying more, and a thing that would again, like I was saying with the other stuff before, would ebb and flow in terms of popularity. Like, you know, for years and years, people were trying. I think there's one movie where the entire movie is one continuous shot, and it was like mostly an experiment, but it's like a full
Birdman.
movie. No, I mean that is shot to look like a full length movie, but it isn't. They didn't shoot it all obviously in one shot, but the whole movie is one continuous shot, literally. And I can't remember the name of the movie, but if you can look it up, you'll figure out what it is. But I think like one of the big ones from modern movie making, and this movie is super old now at this point, but Children of Men, the last like 20 minutes of that movie is all one continuous unbroken shot. But it's always a cool thing because once you're aware of it, I think there was also an episode of House on Hill House or whatever that Flanagan horror movie show,
Haunting on Hill House.
One of those ones, one of his shows. They did a whole episode that was one unbroken continuous shot. I'm sure there was probably some digital stitching in there, but they attempted to do the whole episode in one shot.
There's an Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode also that came out right after Birdman came out that is shot that way, where Charlie is basically like they have a health inspector coming and they have a delivery coming, and they shoot it that way. Obviously, it has commercial breaks, so it's stitched together like you said, but it's meant
super
to be
duper complicated to do. Me and my buddy Spencer, we filmed a short film like when we were in our early 20s, and we did a one shot that went through the entirety of a house, and like it was like two guys going into a house to steal insulin was like the whole concept, but like they get into a miniature gunfight, and like we had a pillow that like a gunshot goes off and the guy flies, and then you know when he lands he punches the pillow, so all these feathers are falling, so we like come in, all these feathers would be coming down, and we had to do it like multiple times to get everything right. But it was pretty cool, and it's like an impressive thing, but unless you're looking for it, like people who aren't sort of like studying film with a scalpel, like they won't even really notice those types of things. But people who are just like super into the artistry of movies, that like they live for that shit. They're like, I love one shots, it's the greatest thing.
But they didn't use it, which is like such an interest. Like I wish that was not lost on the cutting room floor, right? But the fact that they went through, no, I don't. But like the fact that they went through the blocking for that and that they actually filmed it, like you have to have how much film are you using in a time where film is super expensive to try and get that continuous shot, right? Like that's why you're not going to do that.
Well, maybe they didn't use it because they could only do it 3 times, and none of it looked good, you know.
I mean, who the heck knows with them oldie timey stuff? But even like music videos that are done in continuous shots, that's still like, oh, they did it like this, and like, can you believe that they did it in one take in one shot? And there's a couple of those. And then you have people like Hitchcock going in and making it look like it's a continuous shot.
Yeah. It is a cool thing, but I don't even know if I've seen that. If it's lost, is it lost media, or is it just something that was never put in the movie that you can go find somewhere?
That I'm not certain of. Hey, chat, tell me I'm wrong. Find it.
Tim, I'd be interested to find out.
Yeah, but there's tons of examples. One of my friends, Matt, he's like obsessed with one shots. Like this, if you put a one shot in something, like it's almost like he watches all movies looking for where the one shot is. He's like, I wonder if they're gonna do a one shot. Then he gets like super excited when he sees one.
You know that movie that you really like, and the song, the "I'm just a doll on a thing," and a but like that was
chitty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang.
That was her.
Here's a good tidbit from Sweetheart Pro Wrestling. Rope is the name of the movie.
Yeah. The one where the two gays kill a man because their professor teaches them to kill a man.
No, that's called Party Monster.
No, that's called
Starring
Rope.
Macaulay Culkin. I know, I'm kidding. I'm making a joke.
Oh,
It's called
Party
comedy.
Monster. Same thing, yeah.
Yeah. They kill Fez from... I need
No,
to
but
go
I'm
back and
saying-
watch that. That's an aside.
The,
Sorry.
the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang thing, that was her first one take at it. She's like...
She
just
did all
did it.
on the first try.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's like was Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns.
Pfeiffer?
Yeah, famously she practiced with that bullwhip forever to snap those mannequin heads off, and she did it all in the very first take, and everyone was
Oh,
like, "Holy shit!"
But she couldn't come back for reshoots. So when you see Catwoman's head come up at the end, it's just a mannequin.
It's a robot.
It's just a
They're a
little...
Made a robot.
The irony.
But this movie...
So at the agency, a man shows up with the Falcon. It's Jacoby. He dies. Also,
his dad.
going back to
That's John Huston's dad.
what you were talking about, it's interesting that this is like they do like a thing where they pull out like his ID and it's all bloody. That feels like it wouldn't be allowed.
It's
Because
not
it
on the
shows-
list.
Yeah, it was just
Okay.
dirt, black and white. You can't tell what fluid it is.
But we know.
Mm-hmm.
They receive a call from O'Shaughnessy. She's allegedly in danger. So
They used to use
he
chocolate
has-
syrup for blood back in these days. That's what it was.
I mean, that works. That's a good.
we did when we did
blood
a black and white movie when we were in school, and we used chocolate syrup for the blood because we were learning like that was what they use, and it does look better than like fake blood in black and white. Chocolate syrup works better, and then you get to lick chocolate off your face after. It's delicious.
Delicious
Yum.
blood.
Yeah.
This scene was kind of
like
confusing for me because I didn't understand what was going on. But when Sam leaves with the package and he goes into like a bus station and he gives the thing to the guy to like send away, I think, or put in storage. But then he also like writes a letter. I feel like this is like old timey something or other that didn't resonate with me because I didn't really know why he wrote the letter. He also wrote city as part of the address. I don't know. Did you guys clock any of this? Because it was a weird thing that
I
I
thought he
feel
was
like
just couriering it to the lady.
I thought that okay. I thought he was couriering it to like storage. But what was the letter for? It's a letter in a mailbox that they do an over the shoulder shot of him like writing the address on.
Mm.
Anyway,
I think
he
he's
heads
mailing
out,
it
and then he heads to a vacant lot, which is where like the call supposedly came from. The address that he was given turns out fake address from O'Shaughnessy. So he's like, "Well, this is a bust." And when Sam goes home, O'Shaughnessy shows up. She's all just in distress. So all of that was just like he's sent on a wild goose chase after dropping off the alleged Maltese Falcon to the bus station. At the apartment, Gutman, Cairo, and the gunman, they're all there. They underpay Sam for the Falcon. It's a pretty dire situation. Sam says they need a fall guy for the murders, and that's part of the deal, buddy, because since you're gonna lowball me so bad, we want the gunman, Wilbur or Wilmer. I think it was Wilbur. Also, something I thought was funny is like, you know, back in the past, people looked older than they were. This motherfucker he says he's just 26. The gunman, who looks like a 45-year-old man. He's just 26. He'll be fine. He'll be up before we know it. I thought that was interesting.
Sam Spade hides the Falcon in a locker at the bus station, then mails the key to his apartment.
Oh, the key. Okay. I missed that. Thank you.
No
But yeah.
problem. I'm finding out what Elisha Cook's Jr.'s age was.
The only thing that I took away from him writing the address over the shoulder was he draws his Y's in the most unhinged way I've ever seen someone draw Y. I was like, what the fuck is that?
It's AI.
AY.
It's AI.
I love old stuff where they're like, and she sent it by General Post, and I'm like, oh, that would be so cool if you could just do General Post now, and just like write a letter and send it to the General Post, and someone just
You
picks it
could.
up and they know that
It's
it's
gonna
there.
bounce back though.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying.
I know. Haha.
But then like the scroll at the beginning also was just, I was like, did Star Wars come from this? Is that why there are scrolls in Star Wars? From
Could
old
be.
movies like this?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean that's one of the main reasons. Yeah, but like there were scrolls in like the serials.
Oh no, I meant this era of like how that's a common thing that you get. Like there's a scroll at the beginning of Wizard of Oz. There's a scroll.
Absolutely, everything in Star Wars is from George Lucas's childhood, and this would have been a part of it. That right, like
Yeah, there's definitely elements of Maltese Falcon in Star Wars.
He was 37.
But he says he's just 26.
Yeah. He might just be
playing
shitting on him.
Yeah.
Or
it's the like 90210 thing.
90210.
And in this sequence, Wilmer absolutely fucking snaps. He's crying and he's ready to shoot Sam where he sits. I thought his acting, I don't know if it was like, I don't know if they had the technology yet to put like the tears in his eyes. I think he might have been methoding these tears.
I think he was just not blinking. If you watch the scene, he doesn't blink the entire time, so he's just trying to work those tear ducts up.
I might be
He's
wrong.
doing this the whole time, like
I thought
I'm crying.
Somebody blow my eyes.
I know he's a character actor, but I don't know. Like, he was a vaudevillian as well, and he's in a lot of this comedy. So, like, I think he's just. I mean, they did have like the ability to put water in people's eyes as well, but I'm pretty sure this guy's just a funny guy.
Yeah. So you just say, well, yeah, vaudeville is that's a very good point.
I have the scene playing right now, and he literally, even in the background, while Sam's going around spieling, he is not blinking, and he's just like this the whole time. He does not blink once.
Maybe this was the one shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a blink, and he hasn't done it, not even once.
Gutman keeps Wilmer from shooting, and then Sam's like, "Well, how about we give them Cairo? Ball guy's part of the price." Basically, tells Gutman that the ball is in his court since they need Sam alive, and there's nothing they can do to scare him. I thought they were immediately going to grab O'Shaughnessy and be like, "Well, how about your dame? How about we put a gun to her head? Then you're going to be, But they don't. They don't do that. Sam asks about how Thursby got, asks about how Archer got, and Gutman basically spills the tea on all of it to the point that I was like, does Sam have a recording device on him? And then I was like, the recording device would be the size of the room.
Yeah,
so that's not it.
To hold
Do you watch
I'm speaking of my sleep.
Let's talk into this boom mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got pretty hung up on that for a little bit. But we also find out during this that like because of O'Shaughnessy, it was O'Shaughnessy's fault for both of the murders. And then we find out later that she shot one of them out of the three, but also Wilmer did the other two. So these two are basically at odds. And there's sort of a situation where I think it was the night that Sam goes to find out that his partner died. There was a scuffle between Archer and Thursby, and she wanted to do a thing where like she's pointing the gun at both of them, kind of tussling, and if the gun goes off, one of them dies. But it didn't work out that way, so she just ended up shooting one of them. And then Wilmer kind of cleaned up the mess. That's sort of what I took from all of this.
She killed Archer. That's why
Archer.
he's so pissed
Yeah.
off at her at the end, and he's just like, if they don't hang you by that pretty neck, you'll get life, and I'll be waiting for you at the end.
Yeah. But O'Shaughnessy got away with the Falcon, and Jacoby was taking it through transit. He got shot by Wilmer. He ended up making it to the Sam's place and giving it to him. And they knocked out Sam because he was just kind of like annoying and kind of just like, we're gonna knock you out, and then we're gonna go try to intercept the Falcon. And the reason we drugged you is because you're basically just you're not supposed to be part of this, man. Batman shit. And when Batman intervenes, it's like the villains just want him taken out immediately. They also torched the boat looking for the Falcon, we find out. Yeah, and Jacob was the guy, and he was also shot by Wilbur. So interestingly, we do get a classic one of these. If you'll just hold with me here for a second, you'll find
That's when they said the name of the movie in the movie.
They skirt around saying Maltese Falcon so much that I didn't think it was going to happen, but Gutman almost looks down the barrel of the camera and says, "The Maltese Falcon." And I thought that was great. There's only one Maltese
dingus.
Falcon. Pardon?
The dingus. He keeps calling it that.
Yeah. And he's like, Wilbur's my son, but if you need to kill him, we can always get more sons. So Gutman hands over the money. He does there's a little comedy bit where he like withholds a little bit of the money. Like, if you'll notice, and then there's a bill missing. Sam, you clearly stole the money. And Sam's like, no, you took the money. And he's like, ha ha ha, and pulls out the most crumpled bill I think I've ever seen in existence. And he unravels it. It's like, ha, you've also seen through that trick, that clever ploy. I laughed out loud at that.
I couldn't help when he gave the envelope to O'Shaughnessy. All I could think in my head was, I put the necklace in the coat, and I put the coat on her. Like, I was like, she's gonna walk away with that, isn't she? She is. She's gonna. So I started making up stuff that I thought was gonna happen. Oh, I just got myself real bad in the elbow. So I guess I made the movie more exciting for myself by trying to anticipate how they were going to screw him over or screw each other over.
You put the diamond in the cup.
That's apt, because Gutman does the thing I was talking about earlier where he just talks and talks and talks and talks about his grand scheme. Very villain stuff. But then at the end of the scene, when he hands over the money and they take out the Falcon, and he chips away at it and discovers that it's just lead. Also, it's just lead? What are you talking about? You've scraped lead all over this room. All these people got cancer. They discover that it's like a fake or like whatever, which also I have kind of like a theory at the end of the movie. But anyway, I'll get to that when we get to it. I think that it's interesting to note that he sort of is like, well, it's a fake. Obviously, Cairo, we have to go to Istanbul and we got to find the real Falcon. Like, buttons himself up and like takes off. Also, Gutman tells Sam to watch out for O'Shaughnessy. She's shifty. The music swell
off on them.
Yeah. The music swell for the Falcon reveal was also insane. It was really good because this movie has a good score. But at this moment, the reveal of the Maltese Falcon was really, really interesting.
Music's also very sparing in this. Like, there's lots of just no sound at all other than the dialogue for extended periods. And then remember when Wilbur wakes up and then he's like looking around and everybody's staring dead at him. And the music there is just like this slow building swell to him just being like, what are you guys going to do with me? And they're like, sorry, Wilbur.
I hardly ever pay attention to music in movies unless it's a musical. I can't. But in this one, I did notice that it was the music was too jaunty in some places. So
True.
like if I wasn't watching it, I would think that I was watching any like a non-noir, like more bubbly kind of 1940s movie than this. So it had the same typical 1940s score only in this movie. I found it a little bit jarring, but not in a bad way.
Yeah. Also, like another trope of noir detective film that hasn't been created yet within the genre is like the sexy saxophone music as somebody, monologues over top of a scene of him smoking cigarettes and drinking whiskey or whatever. Like that hasn't happened yet. So we don't
Yeah,
get that
no,
for a while.
Yeah.
That's a really
And-
good point because you almost expect Sam to be narrator monologuing over a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, like she walked into my office and sat down at the table.
It was just a thing that you use like little transitional music cues. Like when in these older movies, like instead of showing you the next scene, they'll show you the production of a newspaper and then like the newspaper scroll go up, right?
Yeah.
And it'll show you like the title. And so all of those in this era of movie will have that little like music behind it. And then you get, so it's just like, I think it was just the time. That's your transition music. That's what's in the Warner Brothers like music real thing. Make the score for other things, but for these little pets, you're just trying to get from one thing to another. So I don't know that for sure, but that's just what I've noticed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that there's some validity to that theory. Because like studios definitely just had sort of a bank of music that they could use in whatever they wanted. It even still happens today, like like the Cape Fear music or whatever being used by Fox because they own Cape Fear. Yeah, they can use it whenever they want. But also like there are some movies where like, so The Edge we did a couple of years ago, the soundtrack in The Edge has also been used in a bunch of other movies that were like lower budget and they didn't have money for a score, so they're like, yeah, you can just use The Edge music because nobody fucking remembers what the music from The Edge is until you watch The Edge and you're like, oh, it's a beautiful score. But it's also in 3 other movies because they could just do that and nobody would notice. That's kind of like the curse of like a John Williams or something, right? It's like the music is so recognizable that you can't really as a movie studio reuse any of it for anything else. It's so synonymous with the movie. Like you're not going to be dropping an Indiana Jones track.
Well, imagine Star Wars doesn't get as popular and famous as it does, and the Darth Vader crawl shows up in various movies throughout history. It's not even.
Well, James Horner, a lot of James Horner music, it's John Williams-esque in its own right, but like the Star Trek 3 soundtrack or 4 soundtrack, there's another movie called like Space Ice Pirates or something like some bullshit title like that, and it's a low budget Corman movie, and because he was friends with other studios, he's like, went to James Horner and was like, do you have any extra like unused music compositions from Star Trek? And then he would just use it in that Ice Pirates movie. So if you watch Ice Pirates in Star Trek, the soundtracks are very similar, but it's just sort of like table scraps left over from this movie that's extremely popular and well known. Sort of an unused version of the theme for that movie has then been used for this other bullshit sci-fi movie. And that's just like Hollywood being, I guess, being like fiscally responsible with their soundtracks, being like, I mean, we paid this guy to make a bunch. We've got a bunch of these unused ones, so let's use them for other stuff.
And you have to be fiscally responsible making a movie. That's what it always feels like.
And
unless it's part of your budgets for a mountain of cocaine, which, if you watch any movies from the 80s and early 90s, it's prevalent. I also like
say, Noel?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Something.
I like during this that Cairo freaks out. Gottman just wants to go questing to Istanbul again, but they look over and Wilbur, who's been knocked out, has disappeared. Sam calls the police and tells them that Wilbur did it. Gottman did it. Cairo did it. Sam confronts O'Shaughnessy about Jacoby. She shot Miles because she thought they would fight. Oh yeah, this is the thing I was saying before, where she like tried to do the thing where like, who do I shoot? Somebody's gonna get shot, but then they didn't shoot each other, so she ends up just taking them out basically, or one of them, and then Wilbur cleans up the rest, and Sam reveals that he's going to give her up for all of this, and they sort of have a final moment where he's like, look, a guy has to have a code, and we're in love or whatever, but that doesn't supersede the fact that you did murders, you were a accessory to this grand scheme, and they'll go easy on you, and also you're only going to be away for 20 years. You'll be fine unless they hang you by that pretty little neck, which was a funny thing.
Forgot that he turns into the Joker.
Yeah. And she also was trying various tactics. She's going through her Rolodex of tactics to like persuade him into not doing it. But the thing is like he's been seeing through her from the start. Like I noticed, or I pointed it out earlier, that he literally like is like, you're laying it on too thick, man. You gotta take it down a couple notches. And he's got to get the killer because his partner was killed, and you're an accessory to that crime. If not, I did it directly. So he's got to get the killer. And with O'Shaughnessy, they have stuff on each other. And there's another little bit where it's like, she's like, well, why don't we just run away together? Like, we're in love. We've got the Falcon, the lead Falcon. And he's like, yeah, you have stuff on me and I have stuff on you. So at any time you could use your stuff on me, and you can't trust me either because I have stuff on you that I could use on you. So it's never going to work out. So basically
the lead Falcon sounds like a shitty Iron Man villain.
Nope, that's the Mandalorian theme. I don't know why I did that. But you're right. The police arrive. They arrest O'Shaughnessy. So here's my theory corner for this week.
You're not going to say the last line of the movie, the most famous?
No, because we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
I think that they didn't dig far enough into the Falcon, and the Falcon is actually the Falcon of lore. And he sees something, because when he's walking out with it, I feel like he ultimately got the prize. And I think that he sees something in it. I think he sees a tinge of gold or something. And he's like, oh, it is the Falcon of lore. That's just a theory. That's also why I think that this movie is so like prominent in this mystery that this movie has been for almost 100 years. And I think when you were going to film school, Stephen, was there ever a discussion to that sort of element, that the Falcon is actually the Falcon they were discussing throughout the whole movie?
No, I think we all just kind of agreed that it's meant to be ambiguous. So it's kind of whatever you want it to be. It's sort of like the sled in Citizen Kane, where it's like,
yeah, okay,
what does it represent?
I think it's just a MacGuffin. It's like the ultimate MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Like they even call it a dingus, which is
you got your dingus
MacGuffin.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's supposed to be anything other than the thing that they're looking for.
The narrative push. Yeah, it's just there to have this whole story facilitated around it.
And from the story that Gutman says that, oh, right, of course, this was never the real one. The guy who I got to do it 2 beats ago over there to get it took it because he knew what it was worth. And this, of course, is the fake. And I've been chasing after a fake for a while. So I kind of assumed that that was probably real, so that this one could just be like an object, an empty object that people have obsessed about that's not a thing, right?
Yeah.
That's true. I was reading that this movie kind of represents like pining after stuff. It sort of represents. I had a note here about it.
Yeah, in school they would avoid having conversations about that sort of literal stuff because you're supposed to be learning about like what does this shot represent? What does the item represent as part of the narrative? Deeper than that, not necessarily like the literal statue, but like what is the statue itself meant to be within the movie? Not necessarily like is it real, is it not real? But it's because it was more like a theory of film course that we studied this movie, and not necessarily like the technicality, sort of like structure and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it represents charisma, cynicism, and a personal code, and
it's
illusion,
from
desire,
from
greed,
Tempest.
betrayal, those sorts of things. Yeah.
The line is from, so like it really is a MacGuffin and an empty thing, because the last line is from The Tempest when they're talking about how like none of this is real.
Right.
So this degree that I have doesn't talk about any of the stuff that you learned. It actually is only about the meanings of the little things in the movies.
Right. I guess
opposite.
Jason, you have to read The Tempest now. Get a little Shakespeare in your blood.
Oh, I think Shakespeare.
Actually, I think there's a movie. Isn't there a movie? Didn't they make a movie like not too long ago?
The Tempest.
Did they make a '90s version of The Tempest with like Heath Ledger or anything? Because
I think there was one recently, and I think
I've only seen it at Stratford.
Yeah, you could also go see it on stage. But I think there was a movie that was made with, I want to say it was like, was it Helen Mirren plays the
Tempest?
I think you're right. Yeah, 2010 American fantasy comedy.
With Helen Mirren, Felicity Jones.
Yeah, it's pretty good, actually. It's not terrible. Not great.
Alan Cumming, Chris Cooper.
Christopher Plummer.
Russell Brand. Oh, God.
Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
Alfred Molina. Okay, I'm awake again. What'd you say?
Alfred Molina's in this movie. He plays Stefano.
Russell Brand's.
Digimon. Let me try to say this. Digimon Honsu, which you've seen in lots of stuff.
He was in the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, he was also in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, mine's better.
Yeah. Well, I was like, yep. And I was like, wait a sec.
He's in a lot of stuff, guys. All right. Well, this is the stuff dreams are made of. The end of the episode.
That's why I kind of developed my little theory, because I was like, no, how much does lead sell for on the market at that level?
Well, they've all got lead in their blood now from breathing in those lead chips.
That's what I'm saying. When he's chipping the lead off, yeah.
There was lead in their makeup and honestly, don't worry, it's all a mess.
Yeah. Well, there's asbestos in all of the walls of all of the buildings that they're in.
And their cigarettes.
I'm
smoking pure asbestos cigarettes, see?
There's a part where she's smoking a cigarette and she gets called out, O'Shaughnessy, and she gets called out and she just kind of like plays with the cigarette, and then I thought that was fun. But yeah, that's the movie, The Maltese Falcon. I think we got through it pretty handily. Do you guys want to talk about our Home Alone of it all, our final thoughts, and our ratings?
Yes.
If you had to pick one,
what do you think the Home
when
Alone of it
is
all?
the Home Alone of it all?
Can someone please tell me when the Home Alone of
I
it
really
all
gotta
happened?
know.
When is the Home Alone of it all?
What is the Home Alone of it all?
Now that's the Home Alone of it all.
Do you want to realize we didn't do this week? I'm just realizing now we didn't do a brief history, a brief synopsis.
We did. Oh, a brief synopsis. We didn't do that. No.
Steve, we go with a brief synopsis. No, don't worry about it. Steve, why don't you go first? Why don't you give us your whole thing? Just before you do that, Noel, you've been here 1,000 times, but I will say the brief history is earlier segment.
The Home Alone of it all. Yeah.
The Home Alone of it all is the idea that Kevin McAllister slaps down the blueprint in the movie Home Alone, and that's sort of the part we're all there to see. That transcends to where we're at watching movies now. All movies sort of have that idea that you're there to see this particular part. It can also be your favorite part of the movie. Sometimes it's just the third act. But yes, Steven, please.
My Home Alone of it all is more so just my favorite part of the movie, which is when they knock out Wilbur and then he wakes up and they're all staring at him because he's going to be the fall man. And this is kind of the point of the movie where I just like the way it's shot, for one. I like how they all get an individual sort of, it's almost like a poster shot where it's like if they were to make this movie now, this would be like sort of like the individual character posters that they do for like ensemble cast movies and stuff. It's also the moment where you realize that like, oh, everybody in this movie's a villain. Like nobody is a good guy. Like they're all bad guys. Even the person we're following, he's a shitbag too. As soon as he figures out like what's going on, he's like, how do I get out of this? I know. We'll blame this motherfucker. This piece of shit. Listen, he's got his whole life ahead of him. He's only 26. He'll be locked away for
He's only 22 and
I
So,
think
I don't
he
know.
was just sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I think that is sort of like the perfect embodiment of like in one sort of small sliver of the movie to just kind of like perfectly represent the rest of the movie as a whole. Like that's just like a bunch of people, a bunch of tricky characters, all fucking with each other, and all willing to betray each other in an instant. And it's kind of like what makes the movie great. I think just like final thoughts overall for me is like it is a very good movie. As Jason says, it can be dry and boring, but if you're in the mood to watch a piece of film history, this is an important part of it. And I think that if you are a lover of film, then you're probably going to find this to be something special in terms of like the history of filmmaking and just as a piece of like valuable academia in terms of how movies are structured, how they're shot, and what you can do with black and white film. Like even though this movie was made solidly in the time when color was a big part of movies and it was almost like the huge selling point, this was one of those holdout movies. It's like no, movies will never go full color. That's never going to happen. We're always going to be doing black and white forever. See, which obviously proved to be not the case. But yeah, I think it's something special. And when I was learning about film, this was one of the ones that stood out to me as my favorites in terms of the ones that were required watching in these classes that you take. It was one that I saw and was like, I'm glad they made us watch that one because I probably wouldn't have gone out of my way to watch it on my own otherwise. I can't say the same for all of the other movies that we watched in those classes, but like there's a couple that, you know, I watched when I was learning about them and I've never watched again. So like Citizen Kane or Battleship Potemkin, or The Bicycle Thief, like those things, they're all important pieces of film history, but they're not things that spoke to me as a person who loves movies. And this one does. There's other stuff like Meet Me in St. Louis and stuff where I'm like, Meet Me in St. Louis. I watch that every once in a while because I like
me
it.
at the fair because 2D is crazy.
And also rock
Halloween
with the trolley, ding 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 with the yeah, I like that movie as well. Anyway, really,
I have it on my phone. We can watch it right now.
No, I'm good.
Let's play the whole movie.
Okay.
Like 4 hours long. Anyway, I would recommend this movie if nothing more than to just witness a piece of like film history that I think is particularly important to the medium. Yeah, if I had to give it a rating, I would give it a solid stare down as you walk into my office and offer me a job for $5,000 to find your missing sister. I'll take the case. I'll take the goddamn case.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Thank you, Steve. How about you, Noel?
So the Home Alone of it all, I will never understand. I'll never get it. I'll never understand. And I think part of it is because I'm an idiot and I don't like consume movies.
Just your favorite
that
part of the
way.
movie.
Yeah,
That's
or
but that's my
when
problem.
when it ramps up at that point.
No, but that's the thing. Like I can't understand a movie in that. Like I'm the exact opposite of Steven. You can take apart the movie and it's like structure, and I literally can only absorb it in one like whoomp.
Right.
But my Home Alone of it all is when he's just shitting on Wilbur. They're in that same, I think the same scene that you said, where there's just something about that scene of there are just trying to confuse each other, and he keeps, like, diverting the attention here and there, and you're like, "Something is gonna happen," and that was the scene where I was like, "Okay, you're telling too much of your plot, and I was, like, seeing all of these little, like, things coming together, but still didn't know where it was going, but I thought that was really funny. So,
Yeah.
um, that scene. Uh, Final thoughts for me. I really like this movie. I would say that, um, it's like just over 90 minutes, which so it moves at a pretty quick clip. But I think that if you're not used to watching older movies or you're not used to watching a particular genre, it can be a little bit difficult to make that switch and to like slow down or like pay attention to certain things. Like just some things aren't going to click. If you're that kind of person, I would say watch this with somebody. Like, watch these movies with somebody, watch these old movies, that are, like, kind of masterpieces, not necessarily someone who's seen it before or whichever, but I think it just makes it easier to get through the movie and be able to talk about it and, like, just pay attention to certain things, 'cause I have the problem with all kinds of movies where I will forget I'm watching it. I'll stand up, I'll make a sandwich, and then be like, "Was I watching something?" That didn't happen at all with this movie, which I thought it would, because even movies that I loved, like some Judy Garland movies, like, they're just parts that are so damn boring that I can't like, I
Yeah.
love Easter Parade, but there's a whole middle segment in there that I'm like, "What is" I just completely forget. That was not the case with this. I have crippling ADHD, and for some reason, this movie just hit all of the right things. It had enough. It was always going, even if it wasn't. Like, there was just so much to look at and so many things to absorb. Like, there wasn't anything that was just there for fun. Like, this was a movie that was very well thought out, shot well, and I think it's good. It's one of the better movies. I think it's the best movie that you guys have ever watched on the show. Just from an artistic, stylistic, et cetera. Noel liked it. Anyway, so and there's something so charming about Humphrey Bogart. I think I could watch him do a million things, and Peter Lorre, and just like the actors in this really bring a lot to a script in a movie that is very still, right? So I think like it's the performances that really like carry it through. I give it this a bag of Maltesers.
Mm.
That's my rating.
Pretty good, pretty good. That's almost where I went with it as well. Yeah, and that's good. My Home Alone of it all for this week is basically when Gutman shows up and Gutman's story arc. I really had a good time with that Gutman. He's great.
Gutman sounds like a shitty Batman villain.
Or just like a Batman the Animated Series villain on a filler episode.
You'll never get
So
away with this
shitty-
Gutman. Oh, won't I, Batman?
Like,
Like, with this guy, like, gunk.
boing. Yes. Agreed. Hey, what's up, Tim? Yep, you're home in time for the Home Alone of it all. This is my final thought. The film is fun, but oh so dry. I think that I was kind of alluding to this earlier that like I perceive movies to be boring like this because I don't necessarily have all of the facts, so to speak. So when I'm watching it, if I don't watch it with an analytical eye, I just take it at the face value of it being an old, boring movie. But through watching it, like honing in on the performances and the excellent cinematography and the like realizing what it really means for film and what it means to create new shots and create new genre, that's really what I think the draw for this movie is. It pushes the idea of movie evolution when you watch it nearly 100 years later. So that's what I really enjoyed about it, despite the fact that a lot of it is a very antiquated. And I really enjoyed Humphrey Bogart's performance. Like he's such a good like he was like made to do this specific role. I know that he did a lot more and a lot more different roles, but I'll always see him as wearing a fedora and a trench coat and being like, the night was dark and I had to know what this woman was all about as she came into my office. It wasn't going to be easy. I knew it was going to be hard. That kind of thing, which is a thing that he definitely said. Nope. Anyway, I'm glad that I got to see him act. I give this movie a 4 out of 5 because, again, I didn't think this movie was boring. I thought that it was just dry and it was difficult for me to get into that headspace. But once I was in that headspace, I was all in. I give this movie, you chip away the lead, the enamel, and it turns out it is actually gold with a whole bunch of gems and diamonds all over it.
It's a golden dingus underneath.
Ding dong, dingity ding.
You got your dingus. All right, cool.
Clap for me, fans. But yeah, we made it. We made it through. Here's the thing.
I'm gonna take that with me for the whole weekend. I'll be thinking about that, and it'll make me happy.
That's excellent. But we do have to do some plugs.
All right, let me just plug this in right here and.
Well, he's not going to make it. Steven, do you want to tell us about what you've got going on?
Yeah, so I am Steven Boba Blackfly Waters, and you can find me on Instagram at Boba Blackfly, and you can also find me as the voice narrator and character voices of Darth Theorist, a YouTube channel, as well as the Three-Eyed Theorist, another YouTube channel, where we tell stories, and I do lots of crazy voices, and you might like it. Check it out. Also Stanland, the audio podcast comedy miniseries fantasy story. It's a fun, basically like an audio play, and I do a bunch of voices in that, and I'm currently editing the next miniseries, which is lots of fun. I should have this first episode of that done tomorrow, and it is supposed to be coming out on Tuesday, I believe. But right now there's a teaser you can check out on anywhere the podcasts are available. If you just search Stanland, it's called Zingia Now, and it is sort of like almost like a political podcast where there's a wizard and he brings on a bunch of political figures to discuss things on his podcast called Zingia Now. And I play a couple of characters in that one, and I hope you all check it out because it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
Very amusing.
And that's,
Awesome.
that's all I've got.
Noel, do you have anything to promote?
I have to promote this dog, who's the cutest thing in the world.
Speedy.
Crypto. No, I'd just like to thank you both for having this incredible show. What was it? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 500 episodes, 6,000 episodes that you've done.
All of that. Yeah.
All of it. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I had a great time, and I'm really glad I got to watch this movie. Like, I'm glad that I did it for this. Is it like I think I'm a better person for it. I think we're all better people, and like the real story was the friends we made along the way.
Of course.
But I guess once I get through this midterm and exam period, we are cooking something up. So we can't announce anything, but we are cooking something up, a show, a production of these guys, me, perhaps someone else, perhaps this dog, but more to come on that.
True. Well, thank you, Noel. You're welcome back whenever you'd like to come back, and we'll see you real soon, hopefully.
Tomorrow.
Again. Yep. You can find this show each and every week right here on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. It happens on Thursdays at 8 p.m. We have some great stuff coming up This month is Noirvember. Next month, we're going back to our roots again for some spooky Christmas. You can find me as the announcer for Superkick Wrestling here in Toronto. We have a show on the 20th of November. And outside of that, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of this show because you guys all know where to find it, and it comes out on the weekend for video on demand. But to just sort of round it out, I'd like to let everybody know as well that we have T-shirts. You can buy them. We have the Corporal Tunnel Syndrome, which is a part of our James Bond month, our big book of British Bonds. This was created in part by the show, and Stephen illustrated it to make this Bond villain. We have also the Howie Mandela effect, when you forget all of it, but Howie Mandela's still there. We also have the Grimoire Familiar Killers t-shirt that you can get. We're going to have a new version of this probably in the spring to represent the new movies we're covering. We've got the Eldritch Millennial, of course. We've got...
It's just too funny.
That's just Steve.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Killade. I want to point out that I watched Jason X today, and he still smashes through a window in all 10 movies, I think. And even in Freddy vs. Jason, I think he either throws somebody through a window or a door, or smashes through a window or a door, a wall. And of course, Twinkerbell, fan favorite. I'd like to thank everybody for watching tonight. And Noel, look, I know you've been here enough times to know at this point that... Wait, where the fuck? Actually, Steve, you're going to have to do it. I can't scroll. I can't scroll. If you could click on the, I think it's called Noir Video 2025 or something like that. But Noel, you have to ask one question that needs to be asked each and every week. Could you please do it for us right now?
Hey, did you see this one?
Well, we did it. We talked about the Maltese Falcon. See?
Man, what an exciting episode that was. Now I'm going to go smoke a bunch of cigarettes that I hand rolled myself.
I just wish I could do the Peter Lorre thing.
I'm also going to roll cigarettes all by myself like a big boy.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.
You look like the King of Diamonds. I look like the King of Diamonds. That's the maddest shout I've ever heard. I've been done, you know.